Hello, friends. Good morning. Well, mostly good morning for most of us. Maybe good evening to some. Hello, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, special warm welcome to you. And welcome to all of those who will be just watching the recording. So glad to see you all. Another day of practice. Another maggot-free day, like Jackie was saying. That's one of Martin's cheeky expressions. Okay, so we're back to our grounded body like a temple practice with Christine. And you know that we have about 1 hour altogether. Christine will be giving a bit of a Dharma talk and then a good rooting practice. And then there will be some time for questions. For questions, if you don't know it yet, you can type your questions in the chat box. It's live streamed, so there's no specific way to do that, but to type the question and to keep it, simple, and we can just keep track of it. If you need to ask a question, just type question in capital letters and then write the question, or you can click on your virtual hand on the bottom of the screen and come live on screen, which would be good. Hey, a lot of people coming in. Yeah. So, last little word about Dana. You've probably seen the link on the top of the streaming. I will let it be there at the end of the session again. We solely rely on Dana to keep on doing this work, this really heartfelt work. And that's the same to say that we rely on your generosity. So if you can donate, we don't have a donate button, but we have the link. You can click on the link and see what works best for you in terms of donation. Whatever you can give is welcome and sustains us and the teacher, because we share the dana from the week is shared with the teacher. And yes, if you can't do that, just stay with us with your practice and your presence, which is also a donation. Okay, that'll be all from me. Enjoy your session, have a good day, and see you around.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be with you today. Today in Geneva, where I live, it's a cloudy day, cloudy morning. A wonderful cloudy morning. My root teacher, whatever the weather was, always said, it's a wonderful sunny day or a wonderful rainy day. So today is a wonderful cloudy morning. So today we'll continue our exploration of body like a temple. On Monday, we explored what we could call the architecture of the body. Body on the ground, body touching the sky, and we also explored the belly center. Yesterday, we explored mindfulness of breath, and today we will explore another dimension, the sound of silence. A lot of us in this incredible, noisy world, a lot of us miss silence. Silence can be a real respite. Silence can also be a practice. So maybe just for 1 minute, let's see if we stay completely silent, not looking for anything. Perhaps a silent memory, an experience you had of silence as a respite will emerge, will come up. Most of us have this experience. So let's just stay silent for a few seconds, for 1 minute, and see if you can remember a moment, an experience of silence that was a respite. So maybe something came up for you. The memory that came up for me as I was preparing for this talk yesterday, in relationship to our theme, Body as a Temple, what came up for me was the deep sense of silence. When, as a child, with my father, we visited churches, cathedrals, temples. As I said on Monday, we traveled quite a lot, especially to France, Italy, Greece. And since my father was an architect and also he was an atheist, we went into all these temples, but when no religious celebration was going on. And the silence vibrating in these old walls really struck me as a child. It was as if I could align myself with silence, as if silence held me, contained me, and brought me, carried me back home to myself. Our experience of silence could also be after a whole day of workers using a jackhammer, and suddenly the workers stop working and silence comes in, deep silence, surrounding us and penetrating us, as if nothing is missing, everything is there. Or else it could be the cry of a bird that seems to belong to silence as we're walking through a dense forest. Or perhaps we wake up one morning, this happens in Switzerland, where I live. We wake up one morning and it has snowed. And there's this feeling of silence that comes with the snow, that's like a warm or comfortable blanket that's protecting us. Silence of snow, quite beautiful. In many religions, also in Zen, silence is considered to be a great teacher. A great teacher for what it reveals. Basho, a Japanese poet living in the 17th century, perhaps the most famous poet still today in Japan, wrote a haiku, the frog haiku, it's called. So it goes like this. The old pond, a frog. Plop. Silence is a teacher for what it reveals. Where nature rests completely in itself, it is surrounded by silence. When life rests completely in itself, it is made of silence. Silence of being. It is not the absence of something. It is the presence of something. Quite hard to describe. Sylvia Ostertag, a late Zen teacher, described it in this way. She said, "No noise is not nothing, yet no noise is not something." When silence reveals itself, it has a weight, a texture, a sound. It is mysterious, intelligent, alive. It contains us, protects us, holds us. Living silence. It's like a conductive matter. It leads us right home. Home where we already are, here. We can't make it happen. It's elusive, uncatchable, fleeting. So how to practice silence in meditation? We don't need a pause when workers stop using the jackhammer. We don't need to walk in dense forests and listen to birds' cries. We don't need the snow. Even if all these elements can help. All we need is to come back to silence in oneself. We can do this anytime. Coming back to silence in oneself. Silence is there when we are doing nothing. So we have to make this doing nothing possible. As soon as we remember silence, it is there. As soon as we listen to silence, it is there. Silence around sounds, silence in between sounds, silence amid sounds. We can train our ears to hear what ears cannot hear. So how do we get to hear that? Hearing, hearing, hearing. Resting into our hearing. The simple act of hearing. Nothing else. Being very still. We can start with the most obvious, the most tangible sounds. Hearing sounds. Any sound will do. Hearing sounds. And then hearing silence between sounds. And perhaps staying very still, resting in our hearing, we may hear a stretch of silence amid sounds. Not looking for it though. Awareness resting within itself. So let's meditate. Oops. So there we go. Settling in our sitting. Letting ourselves arrive. Right here, right now, in this living body. Touching the ground, touching the sky. Settling into our belly center, the center of life, of trust. Connecting with our breath that comes and goes. We only need to listen deeply. No strain. Not trying to focus our listening on something special. Only the act, the simple act of opening up to hearing. Sounds are here. We are aware of sounds. resting in our hearing, aware of sounds. Whether we like the sounds, whether we don't like the sounds, all the same, resting into hearing. Staying very still. Perhaps there is a current of sound, a flow. Deep listening. It is like music. Resting, resting. Aware, aware. Perhaps between sounds, there is silence. We only need to tune into silence, as if we were an instrument for silence. Tuning in, letting silence settle in oneself. Letting silence settle into our thoughts, into our feelings, into our sensations. Letting silence settle around sounds, between sounds, amid sounds. Protective, sweet silence. Driving us home. No pushing, no straining. And if we drift away, gently, gently, let's see if we can bring our attention back to the simple act of hearing, the tangible and the non-tangible. within these old walls of our body, like a temple. Silence. Resting into hearing. And perhaps you can feel the texture of silence in your heart, belly, head, without looking for anything, staying very still. Awareness resting within itself. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing, silence. like the trees and the winds. Life resting within itself. Made of the stuff of silence. And during the last minutes of the meditation, let's see if we can let ourselves dive even deeper without doing anything, really doing nothing. It's more like letting silence lead us. Letting silence lead us home, home in this body, here. This morning, if it's the morning where you are. Now, whatever the time of the day. So we have a little more time for sharing, if you wish to share something in the chat or ask a question or even come on live. But let's see, now that we have our eyes open, if we can still hear silence. We only need to listen for silence to be here. Anytime, also during the day. So I'm going through the chat to see if I can there's a lot, so let's see if there's a question or let's see. Kevin, question: will this practice be okay for tinnitus sufferers? I'm sorry, Kevin, I don't know what that is. So difficult to answer to that one. So what is tinnitus? Perhaps, Kevin, perhaps you could say more? I would like to say that mostly this practice is fine for everything, for everyone. But sometimes generalities are not the good answer, so I would have to know more about that, Kevin. I see another question from John. When meditating on silence, should you not be labeling the sounds? I find it hard not to automatically label all sounds: bird, binman, cat purring, etc. Well, that's fine. Sure, you can label. And after a while, you can also see if you can just rest in hearing. It's more direct. It doesn't, to label you have to think just a second to be able to label. So after a while, you may try to rest even more, listen even more deeply, to find this more direct connection. But if it's at first easier for you, I'm always for starting with the easiest, always. I'm seeing another question here. Thank you very much for the practice. Are you able to talk to us about silence and our interconnectedness? Yeah, we are interconnected with everything and everyone. And one practice that I really love is to remember that we can remember silence even when we are relating to others, relating to things, relating to nature. A little bit like we wouldn't want to disturb silence, even when we're speaking. Can silence be there? Can silence be there in our words, in the way we touch, in the way we see, and not only in the way we hear? It's whole body listening. So I like the idea of not disturbing silence. Yeah, let's see what else is here. Okay, yeah. I see that Monica is saying tinnitus is a constant sound that is always there, a buzzing or other sound. I have it too, and it's often dominant, especially when focusing on sound. Yeah, okay, so I know what that is. It just, since my first language is French, I didn't know the word in English. Okay, yeah, yes. So the answer is yes. Perhaps you can explore that buzzing sound without labeling it good or bad. Or even if it is uncomfortable, seeing if it's possible to just hear, open up, open up, open up to the buzzing, not trying to push it away. Yeah. I'm also reading what Kate said. She has tinnitus too, and she did it differently. Yeah. So if my answer doesn't seem the right answer, but forget about what I just said. I think the most important is to explore, actually. You can explore, perhaps, between not paying attention to the noise the tinnitus makes, like Kate does, and see if the experience is different when you just let the noise be. This silence I'm talking about today is a mid noise too. I remember one of my teachers in Zen saying that we should be able to meditate next to a highway and still hear the silence. a question from Wifka. Her question is, are thoughts considered noise? Are thoughts considered noise? Right now, I wouldn't say it in that way. Thoughts can be noise. But let's see if silence can settle in the middle of our thoughts, as if thoughts can have more space in this way. Silence can settle in our thoughts, amid our feelings, amid our sensations. Okay. I think we're coming to an end, and I see that I haven't been able to read everything. So, if you would like to come tomorrow and perhaps share again or ask your question again, I'd be happy to read you and to answer tomorrow. And for today, we are finished, and I'm wishing you a good day amid silence, or silence amid your day. Bye for now.